The message came at midnight, Earth time. Ambassador Park Sumi was sleeping in her small room on Nexus Prime when her communication screen lit up with red light. Red meant urgent. Red meant the Galactic Council. She sat up and read the message twice. Then she read it a third time. Her hands did not shake. Her face did not change. But inside her chest, her heart beat faster than it had in years. The Council wanted to see her, all 43 species, every representative. This had not happened in over 200 years. Sumi dressed in her formal black suit. She looked at herself in the mirror. She was 52 years old. She had gray in her hair now. She had been a diplomat for 30 years. She had seen many strange things in the galaxy, but she had never seen the full council gather for one species. The walk to the Grand Chamber took 15 minutes. Nexus Prime was a massive station built by the elder races thousands of years ago. It floated in neutral space, far from any star. It was cold here, not just the temperature. The whole place felt cold. The doors to the Grand Chamber were 30 meters tall. They were made of some metal that Sumi did not recognize. When they opened, she heard the sound of many voices, then silence. Every seat was full. Beings of all shapes and sizes looked down at her. Some had scales, some had feathers, some were made of crystal, some looked like clouds of colored gas, some had no shape at all that human eyes could understand. At the center, on a platform high above everyone else, sat High Arbiter Velthron. He was the oldest being in the chamber. His body was made of living crystal, blue and clear like deep ice. He had led the council for 3,000 years. He had watched empires rise and fall. He had seen species born and die. "Ambassador Park," Velthron said. His voice was like wind through glass. "Thank you for coming." "I serve the council," Sumi said. This was the formal response. It meant nothing. Everyone knew it meant nothing. "We have watched your species for some time," Velthron said. "Humans are interesting. You spread fast. You build fast. You fight fast. In just 400 years, you have grown from one world to 17. Your ships are powerful. Your weapons are dangerous." Sumi waited. She knew this was not a compliment. "The council has decided," Velthron continued, "that humanity must accept guidance for your own good, for the good of all species." "What kind of guidance?" Sumi asked. "You will give us your warships, all of them. You will remove the weapons from your colonies. You will accept protection from the hegemony species. They will keep you safe. In return, you will have peace. You will have trade. You will have a place in the galaxy." The chamber was silent. Sumi felt thousands of eyes on her. Some of those eyes were kind, some were not. "And if we refuse?" she asked. Velthran's crystal face did not change, but his voice grew colder. "No species has ever refused the council. We do not expect you to be the first." "I need time," Sumi said. "I must speak with my government." "You have 72 hours. We will expect your counter-proposal then." Sumi bowed and left the chamber. She walked back to her room. She sat on her bed. She thought about what she had heard. They wanted Earth to give up everything. Ships, weapons, freedom. They wanted humans to become pets, safe, quiet pets who would do what they were told. She opened a secure channel to Earth. It would take 6 hours for the message to arrive. She recorded everything, every word, every threat, every offer. Then she sent a second message. This one went to Admiral Baik Doha, commander of Earth's defense fleet. He was an old friend. They had known each other for 20 years. He was not a man who scared easily. "Doha," she said into the recorder, "they want us to surrender. Everything. They think we will bargain. They think we will ask for better terms. What do I tell them?" She sent the message and waited. Hours passed. She did not sleep. She drank tea and watched the stars through her small window. Somewhere out there, 17 human worlds waited to hear their fate. The response came 12 hours later. Admiral Bayek's face appeared on her screen. He looked tired but calm. His gray hair was cut short, military style. His eyes were steady. "Sumi," he said, "I talked to the president. I talked to Parliament. Everyone agrees." "And? Tell them no." Sumi felt something in her chest. Relief? Fear? She was not sure. "Just no?" she asked. "No counteroffer? No negotiation?" Admiral Bayek smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. "Just no. And Sumi, tell them why. Tell them that some things are not for sale. Tell them that freedom is not a bargaining chip. Tell them that humans would rather die standing than live on their knees." The message ended. Sumi sat alone in the dark. In 60 hours, she would stand before the most powerful beings in the galaxy. She would tell them something they had never heard before. She would tell them no. The Grand Chamber was full again. Every species had sent their best representatives. They wore their finest clothes. They brought their translators and their advisors. This was a big day. Today, they would hear humanity's counteroffer. Every species in history had made a counteroffer. The Keth had asked for more trading rights. The Volmar had requested smaller weapons limits. The crystal beings of Thera had negotiated for 200 years before reaching a deal. This was how the galaxy worked. You threatened, they bargained, everyone found a middle ground. High Arbiter Velthran sat on his high platform. His crystal body glowed softly in the chamber lights. He had done this many times before. He knew exactly how it would go. The human ambassador would propose something. The council would reject it. Then real negotiations would begin. The doors opened. Ambassador Park Sumi walked in. She was alone. No advisors, no assistants. Just one small human woman in a black suit. Some of the representatives laughed quietly. Others looked confused. Where was her team? Where were the lawyers and the negotiators? Did humans not understand how important this was? Sumi walked to the center of the chamber. She stood straight. Her hands were at her sides. Her face showed nothing. "Ambassador Park," Velthran said, "we are pleased to see you. The council is ready to hear humanity's proposal." "Thank you, High Arbiter," Sumi said. Her voice was calm and clear. "I bring a message from the United Earth Parliament, from President Yun Hana, from all 17 of our worlds. Please proceed." Sumi took a breath. This was the moment. In the next few seconds, she would change everything. "The United Earth Parliament has considered your offer carefully. We understand what you want from us. We understand what you are offering in return." The chamber was silent. Representatives leaned forward. This was where she would start bargaining. "Our answer is no." Velthran waited. The representatives waited. Surely there was more. "We have no counter-proposal," Sumi continued. "We are not interested in negotiating. We refuse your offer completely." The silence broke. Noise filled the chamber. Representatives shouted at each other. Some stood up from their seats. Translation devices worked hard to keep up with the chaos. Velthran raised one crystalline hand. The noise stopped. "Ambassador Park, perhaps you did not understand. We are offering you protection, safety, a place in galactic society. Surely you want something from us." "We understand perfectly," Sumi said. "You want our ships, our weapons, our freedom to choose our own future. In return, you offer us the chance to exist under someone else's control. That is one way to see it. It is the only way to see it, and our answer is no. Not no, but give us more. Not no unless you change these terms. Just no." A representative from the Vorn species stood up. He was tall, with dark purple skin and 4 arms. "This is unacceptable. Every species negotiates. This is how civilization works. You cannot simply refuse." "We can," Sumi said. "We just did." "But what do you want?" Another representative called out. "What are you asking for?" Sumi smiled. It was a small smile, but it confused them more than anything else she had done. "We want nothing from you. That is exactly the point. You came to us with threats and offers. You expected us to bargain, to beg for better terms, to play your game. But we are not playing." "Then what are you doing?" Veltron asked. His voice was harder now, less patient. "We are saying no, and we will keep saying no. We do not need your permission to be free. We do not need your protection. We do not need your approval. We will live our way, in our space, by our rules. If you want to trade with us, we welcome you. If you want to leave us alone, we accept that too. But if you try to make us kneel, you will find that humans do not kneel well." The chamber erupted again. Veltron did not try to silence them this time. He stared at the small human woman standing alone in the center of his great chamber. In 3,000 years, no species had ever done this. They had all bargained. They had all found the price at which they would surrender their freedom. Every single one. Until now. In the back of the chamber, Delegate Mirath of the Keth species watched quietly. She was small for her kind, with silver scales and large, dark eyes. She had studied humans for years. She had read their history. She had learned their languages. She was not surprised by what the ambassador had said. She had expected it. In fact, she had hoped for it, because Mirath understood something the council did not. Humans were not being difficult. They were not being proud or stupid. They genuinely meant what they said. They would rather fight and die than live as subjects. And that made them the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. Veltron finally spoke again. His voice was ice. "You understand what this means, Ambassador. If you refuse to negotiate, we cannot protect you from what comes next." Sumi nodded. "We understand. We have always understood. We simply do not care. Some things are worth more than safety. Some things are worth more than life." She turned and walked toward the doors. Behind her, the chamber was still in chaos. Thousands of years of tradition had just been broken by one word: no. 3 weeks passed after Ambassador Park said no. 3 weeks of angry messages. 3 weeks of threats. 3 weeks of the council waiting for humans to change their mind. They did not change their mind. So the council sent its fleet. 200 warships jumped into the space near human territory. They came from 12 different species, big ships with big guns, ships that had destroyed entire civilizations before, ships that had never lost a war. Fleet Master Korvax commanded them from the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dawn. He was old for his species, with gray scales covering his long body. He had fought in many wars. He had won all of them. He did not want to fight this one. "Fleet Master," his censor officer said. "Human ships approaching. 87 vessels." Korvax looked at the display. The human fleet was less than half the size of his. They were outgunned badly. Any reasonable species would have retreated. Any smart commander would have asked for terms. But the human ships kept coming. At the front of the human formation was a destroyer called the Indomitable. Its captain was a woman named Li Jisoo. She was 38 years old. She had black hair cut short and eyes that missed nothing. She had been a soldier for 15 years. "Captain," her first officer said, "the council fleet outnumbers us more than 2 to 1. We cannot win this fight." "I know," Jisoo said. "Then why are we here?" Jisoo looked at her crew. They were scared. She could see it in their faces. But they were still here. They had not run away. Because sometimes you have to show people what you are made of. Sometimes you have to stand up, even when you might fall. Our grandparents knew this. Their grandparents knew this. Now it is our turn. A message came through from the council fleet. Fleet Master Korvax appeared on her screen. "Human Captain," he said, "I am giving you one chance. Turn around. Go back to your space. Tell your leaders to accept the council's offer. No one needs to die today." Jisoo looked at the alien commander. He seemed tired. sad even. She wondered if he had children. She wondered if he wanted to go home. "Fleet Master," she said, "I thank you for your offer, but I cannot accept it. We did not come here to leave." "Then you came here to die." "Maybe, but we came here free, and we will stay free or we will not stay at all." The transmission ended. Korvac sat back in his chair. His officers looked at him, waiting for orders. "They are insane," his weapons officer said. "They cannot possibly win." "No," Korvac said quietly. "They are not insane. They simply do not think the way we do. They do not calculate survival the same way." Back on Nexus Prime, Dr. Choi Minho stood before the council. He was Earth's chief expert on alien cultures. He had spent his whole life studying how other species thought. "You want to understand humans?" he said to the representatives. "Then let me tell you some stories." He told them about a place called Thermopylae, where 300 soldiers fought against an army of thousands. They all died, but they did not surrender. He told them about a fort called the Alamo, where a small group held out against impossible odds. They all died, but they did not surrender. He told them about Masada, where people chose death rather than slavery. They all died, but they did not surrender. "This is what you are dealing with," Dr. Choi said. "We are a species that writes songs about people who lost. We build statues to remember people who died fighting. To us, how you fight matters more than whether you win." The council was silent. "You think we are being foolish," Dr. Choi continued. "You think we should just accept your offer and be safe. But safety without freedom is not life. It is just slow death. We would rather burn bright and fast than fade away in chains." In the back of the chamber, Delegate Marath listened carefully. After the meeting ended, she found Ambassador Park. "I need to talk to you," Marath said. "Privately." They walked to a quiet garden on the station. Artificial plants grew under artificial light, but it was peaceful. "The Keth have studied your species," Marath said. "We know you better than the others do. We understand what you are doing." "And what is that?" "You are not being defiant. You are not trying to be difficult. You genuinely do not want what the Council is offering. You would rather have nothing than have everything on someone else's terms." Ambassador Park nodded slowly. "Yes, that is exactly right. The Council does not understand this. They think everyone wants the same things: power, safety, resources. They cannot imagine a species that values freedom more than survival." "Can you?" Mirath was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, "My people were like you once. Long ago, before we joined the Council. We had that fire too. We lost it somewhere along the way. Watching you reminds us of what we used to be." Far away, at the border of human space, something changed. The human fleet stopped retreating. They stopped waiting. They started moving forward. "Fleet Master!" the sensor officer shouted. "Human ships are advancing!" Korvax stared at his display. The 87 human ships were flying straight toward his 200. Not attacking, not retreating, just coming closer. "What are they doing?" his officer asked. Korvax felt something he had not felt in a very long time. He felt afraid. "They are showing us," he said quietly, "that they are not afraid to die." The human fleet stopped moving. They were now so close to the Council ships that any battle would destroy both sides. Point-blank range, no escape, no retreat. Fleet Master Korvax stared at his display. He had fought in dozens of battles. He had never seen anything like this. "They are not attacking," his weapons officer said. "They are not retreating. What are they doing?" "Waiting," Korvax said. "For what?" "For us to make a choice." The Council fleet had the advantage. They could destroy the humans. But at this distance, the humans would destroy them too. Victory would cost everything. Was it worth it? Was forcing one small species to surrender worth losing half your fleet? On Earth, President Yoon Hana stood in a broadcast room. Every screen on 17 worlds showed her face. Every human who could listen was listening. But the broadcast was not just for humans. It was going out on open channels. Every species in the galaxy could hear her. "My name is Yoon Hana," she said. "I speak for Earth. I speak for all human worlds. And I speak now to everyone in the galaxy who is listening." She paused. Her face was calm. Her voice was steady. "The Galactic Council has asked us to give up our ships, our weapons, our right to protect ourselves. They say this is for our own good. They say we will be safer. They say we should trust them to take care of us. We have said no, not because we want to fight, not because we think we are better than anyone else. We said no because freedom is not something you can trade. It is not a thing you can buy or sell. It is what makes life worth living. Some of you are watching this and thinking we are fools. You think we should just accept the Council's offer and be happy. But let me ask you something. When did you stop being free? When did you decide that safety was more important than choice? When did you give up the right to make your own future? On Nexus Prime, the Council watched. The chamber was silent. "Humanity is not asking for anything," President Yoon continued. "We do not want to rule anyone. We do not want to take from anyone. We just want to be left alone to build our own future. Is that so strange? Is that so dangerous? If any species wants to trade with us as equals, we welcome you. If any species wants to be friends, we welcome you. If any species wants to ignore us and go their own way, we understand. But if any species tries to put chains on us, they will find that humans do not wear chains well. We are offering nothing. We are asking for nothing. We are simply standing here saying one word, no. And we will keep saying it for as long as it takes, even if it takes forever, even if it costs us everything." The broadcast ended. The galaxy was silent. Then Delegate Marath stood up in the council chamber. Her silver scales caught the light as she moved to the center of the floor. "High Arbiter," she said. "The Keth have heard humanity's words. We have watched their actions, and we have made a decision." Velthron's crystal face showed no emotion. "Speak, Delegate." "The Keth accept humanity's offer. We wish to establish relations with them as equals, not as subjects, not as servants, as friends." The chamber erupted. Representatives shouted at each other. Some were angry. Some were confused. Some were afraid. Then another delegate stood up. Then another. Then three more. "The Ven accept humanity's offer. The Prothi accept humanity's offer. The Seven Moons accept humanity's offer." One by one, 11 species stood. 11 species chose to follow humanity's example. 11 species remembered what freedom felt like. High Arbiter Velthron watched in silence. 3,000 years he had led this council. 3,000 years of control. 3,000 years of species doing exactly what he expected. Until now. He raised his crystalline hand. The chamber fell silent. "Fleet Master Korvax," he said, his voice cold as ice. "Withdraw your ships." The words hit the chamber like a bomb. The council had never backed down. Never. Not in 10,000 years. "High Arbiter?" Korvax's voice came through the speakers, confused. "You heard me. Pull back. The humans have made their choice. We will not destroy ourselves trying to change their minds." At the border, Korvax gave the order. 200 ships turned around and began to move away. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Captain Lee Jisu watched them go. Her first officer let out a long breath. "We won?" Jisu shook her head. "We did not win. We survived. There is a difference." "What difference?" "Winning means the fight is over. Surviving means we get to keep fighting tomorrow." She smiled slightly. "But for today? Today is good. Today we go home." All across human space, people watched the Council fleet retreat. They did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They just stood in quiet amazement. They had said no to the most powerful force in the galaxy, and the galaxy had listened. It was not a victory. It was something better. It was respect. 1 year had passed since the Council fleet turned around. 1 year since humanity said no. 1 year since everything changed. The galaxy looked different now. 18 species had left the Council's control. They called themselves the Independent Alliance. They traded freely. They talked openly. They made their own choices. Humanity was at the center of it all, not because they wanted to lead, just because they had been first. They had shown everyone else that it was possible to say no. Ambassador Park Sumi walked through the gardens of Nexus Prime. She came here often now. The artificial flowers still looked fake, but she had grown to like them. They reminded her of how far she had come. A message had come for her that morning. High Arbiter Velthron wanted to meet, privately. No guards, no advisors, just 2 people talking. She found him in the oldest part of the garden, where crystal trees grew from the metal floor. He stood alone, his blue body catching the light. "Ambassador Park," he said, "thank you for coming." "High Arbiter." She bowed her head slightly. "How can I help you?" Veltron was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was softer than she had ever heard it. "I have led the Council for 3,000 years. In all that time, no species has ever done what yours did. Every civilization, every empire, every culture, they all bargained. They all found a price. They all made deals. Until us," Sumi said. "Until you. I still do not understand why. We offered you everything. Safety, trade, a place in galactic society. Why did you refuse?" Sumi thought about the question. She had asked herself the same thing many times. "Because everything you offered came with chains," she said finally. "You wanted us to be safe, but you wanted to decide what safe meant. You wanted us to trade, but you wanted to control what we traded. You wanted us to have a place, but you wanted to choose where that place was. And that was not acceptable to you." "No, it was not. Humans learned something long ago, Arbiter. We learned that people who bargain with those who threaten them only invite more threats. The only way to be truly free is to make freedom something you will not negotiate. Even if it means death. Even then, better to die standing than live on your knees. That is not just words to us. We mean it." Veltron's crystal body hummed softly. "You are a strange species." "We know. Perhaps that is why you have changed things. Perhaps the galaxy needed something strange. Far away, on Earth, things were changing too." Admiral Bayek Doha retired from the fleet. He was 67 years old. His hair was completely white now, and his bones hurt when it rained. He had done his duty. Captain Lee Jisoo took command of a new ship, the Unity. It was the first vessel built by humans and Keth together. 2 species working as one. A year ago, it would have been impossible. Dr. Choi Minho became the Alliance's first cultural liaison. His job was to help different species understand each other. It was hard work, but he loved it. Every day brought something new. Delegate Mirath was elected as the Alliance's first Secretary General. A Keth leading a group founded by humans. She accepted the position with tears in her dark eyes. "We forgot what it meant to be free," she said in her acceptance speech. "The humans reminded us. Now it is our job to remember." President Yoon Hana visited Colony Sejong 4 on the anniversary of the standoff. The colony had grown into a major trade hub. Ships from 20 species came and went every day. The market sold food from 100 worlds. She walked through the station's central garden, a real garden now, with real plants from Earth and other worlds growing together. Children played on the grass. Some were human, some were not. A young Keth child approached her. She was small, with silver scales like delicate mirath. Her eyes were wide and curious. "Are you the human leader?" the child asked. "I am," President Yoon said, kneeling to meet her eyes. "My mother says you changed everything. She says you made the council scared." President Yoon smiled. "We did not try to scare anyone. We just wanted to be free." "But what did you want from the galaxy? What did you ask for?" President Yoon looked at the garden around her. Human children and Keth children played together. Prothi merchants sold their goods next to human farmers. Ships from a dozen worlds floated in the sky above. "We wanted exactly what we have now," she said. "Friends, not masters. Partners, not overlords. We wanted to walk among the stars as equals. And we were willing to accept nothing less." The child thought about this. Then she smiled and ran back to play with her friends. President Yoon stood up and looked out the window. In the distance, a new ship was launching from the station. It was beautiful. Sleek lines, bright metal, engines that glowed like stars. It was the first joint design between humans and Keth. The first of many, they hoped. A symbol of what two species could build when they worked together as equals. The ship's name was painted on its hull in two languages, human letters on one side, Keth symbols on the other. Both said the same thing: unbroken. President Yoon watched it rise into the stars. Behind her, children laughed and played. Around her, 100 species went about their lives. A year ago, the galaxy had expected humanity to bargain, to give in, to be like everyone else. Instead, they had said one word: no. And that one word had changed everything.